Hello, my name's Philippa Waller.
My name is Penelope Waller, and we are two of the directors at 4D Human Being.
And welcome to the 4D Human Being podcast. What's it all about, Pen?
It's all about your personal and professional relationships. It's about your communication skills, how you lead, how you work and build teams, how you are looking after yourself and your well-being, and how you are much more at choice. What do we mean by that?
Well, sometimes we can get a little caught in patterns in life and we can all be a little bit on our automatic pilot. So 4D Human Being is all about helping us get back to choice and being a four-dimensional human being. And your fourth dimension, of course,
is intention. So whether it's about your impact, your leadership style, your team dynamics, whether it's about your well-being, whether it's about your communication or your presentation skills, anything that involves human beings interacting with other human beings, 4D Human Being are here to help.
we're going to take a deep dive and look at some tools, insights, theories that are going to help you go from a 3D human doing to a 4D human being so that you can happen to the world rather than the world simply happening to you.
Well, hello. We're a little bit out of breath. Well, I am a little bit out of breath. Just climbed a very big hill. If you zoom around there, you can see where we've climbed up. There we go. Woo! So, happy spring. Happy spring. This is our first outside podcast in a few years, actually. I think the last one we recorded outside was during COVID.
Yes, so I'm not even sure it was in this country.
Oh, in the beautiful sunshine on a beautiful April day.
Yes, so we're coming up to the spring break. Yeah, we're going to be talking a lot in the next few weeks about uncertainty because there's a lot of that. And talking about it, really like what can we do? How can we feel more stable when we can't always change the environment? But how can we change our mindset and position in it? So we talk about that. But today, with the spring break, and spring is springing, and I saw my first bluebell yesterday.
Oh.
And we'll talk about hitting the reset button. So sort of refresh, reset. Like how can we think about not like a massive life change?
No, in fact, really not
about
right, I'm going to be a completely different person. I'm going to go to the gym. Everything's going to change. Not that at all.
No, but how can we sort of do a mini reset that actually means you could wake up tomorrow morning, or you could come out of your next meeting, or you could jump onto your next call and just take a moment to think, I could do something different.
Yeah.
I could just turn a page, and not a heavy sort of medieval tome parchment page, a light rice paper page.
Easy.
Just that would
Easy
just
breezy.
blow over. Easy breezy. Well, just try something new. So that is what I'm thinking about.
And also, I think you and I have got a couple of ideas on this, and mine is probably not even turning over the page, just reading the words and interpreting them slightly differently.
Yes. Yeah, so even just a reset on interpretation. Yeah. So I was thinking about something I talked about a lot a few years ago, which is the next 5 minutes. And rather than hitting reset, like you said, of thinking, right, I'm going to change job or move house or become a completely new person. As a psychotherapist, I'm going to tell you, that's tough. But actually, what are the small things I could stop doing, start doing, do less of and do more of?
Yes.
That if you think incrementally, moment by moment, I'm going to give you an example.
Okay.
I have put my 8 kg weights out on a little table.
Ever hopeful, ever sure.
Well, because I'll tell you, this is exactly why. Because I do lots of things like dance and yoga, but I thought I really want to do more resistance training. Next thing, I'm looking up 30-day plans to get the ultimate sort of muscle.
Yeah.
And I spent all my time, and I'm looking at these 30-day plans. You got to have at least sort of 45 minutes a day. You got to change the different muscle groups. I mean,
Crikey,
it
sounds like a job.
And then I stopped.
A whole new career.
And I thought, I was like, right, that's not going to happen. And then I thought, arms. Just going to do arms, biceps, triceps.
Yes.
And I'm going to do it while the kettle boils in the morning.
Good idea.
I'm going to do some heavy reps
This is a very downhill path, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it's very downhill.
I think downhill is hugely underestimated in terms of its difficulty.
It's true, on the knees.
Yeah.
Harder than going up. So that reset is not right. I'm, going down the gym and eating protein shakes and doing the full body workout. I'm just going to do 3 to 4 minutes.
Going to become like a gym instructor.
Yes, or going to be like, Miss Iron Universe, whatever. But I'm going to do kettle boiling time of arm weights.
Nice.
And that's doable.
Yeah. I've taken it one step further, Phil. I've taken the reset button one step further.
Go on.
Which means actually not doing anything at all.
Full stop.
But I tell you how this came up for me was I found this AI app that you can put photos of your a room in your house or your garden into this AI app.
Yeah.
And then it has a selection of different styles and colour palettes, and you can completely see a design for your room in like 3 seconds.
Yeah.
Or your garden. Yeah. And I was doing this around my house in my garden, and I started to get really sort of dissatisfied with my house. I thought, oh no, I want my house to look much more like AI, basically.
That's a slippery path.
Yeah, that's
a downhill path.
Oh, it's a downhill path. And I was going down this tunnel, and I think, my house doesn't look how I want it to look. And then I stopped and I looked at my house.
Yeah.
I looked at AI pictures. And actually, my house is very nice. I really love my house.
Yeah.
And I thought, I have a really lovely house.
Yeah.
That lots of people would love to have a house like mine. And instead of thinking I want it to be like that, just enjoy what you've got. So I decided I don't have to change anything.
Yeah.
I just have to enjoy what I've got.
Well,
Which actually doesn't take much effort.
it's a reset on the mindset. Do you know what it was really lovely about that is
I didn't have to pick up any weights as the kettle ball.
yes, but also it's a really good example of, if I think about whether we're talking about coaching or training or therapy, of self-development, that we've got the part of that that's looking at what else, what more.
Yes, yeah.
But the piece that's really important that you have to start from is, and this is where I am.
Yes, that's right.
And when you can have that acceptance of, right, well, this is where I am.
Or even joy, if you can find
joy,
it.
or at least acceptance of the reality of this is my starting point, then everything from there is Bertie bonus, isn't it?
That well-known UK expression.
Because everything from there is extra, it's bonus, rather than a sort of moving from a place of terrible to slightly better. Yeah. Actually, we're moving from a place of I accept this is where I am, just getting over a style here.
That was a really high start to try and keep the audio still going.
That was an unexpectedly high style.
You should shut that style.
That is an unexpectedly high style. And
be grateful that
yes, be grateful we killed it. Exactly. But that mindset. So let's put this into the workplace. The mindset reset of not even changing the next team meeting, but just hitting reset on your mindset around it.
Yes.
So rather than, oh God, I've got to go in there and Bob's going to be there and he's always annoying, is just hit reset on that.
Yes.
And go, oh, I wonder
what's great about this team.
Yeah, what's great about this team?
What we achieved
Yeah,
today,
exactly. And that comes to...
what can we celebrate about what we've achieved, which again is celebrating milestones.
Not enough celebration going on. No. Sometimes I meet people and I go, does your work culture ever celebrate? And they go, no, as if I'm mad. And I'm like, you might want to think about a bit more celebration. Yeah. But this really goes to the 4D work, which is the intention, and reset on your intention. So basically you're hitting a 4D reset button, and you could do it at any moment. You could do it halfway through a meeting, halfway through a call, you could do it at your lunch hour, you could do it at the end of the day, beginning of the day. It's just hit the reset button and think, what could my intention be here, rather than I'm going through the same old motions in a way that is slightly unsatisfying.
Exactly.
What would I love? And if I want a little bit more energy, could I bring that energy? If I want a bit more play, could I bring that play? If I want a bit more appreciation and celebration,
what could I put into the mix?
Who could I appreciate? What could I put into the mix?
It does not have to be life-changing transformation.
No, exactly. But it's like the analogy of if you move a ship by 1 degree, it'll end up in a completely different place.
Yes.
That's the analogy, really, for the refresh we want to talk about. It's not right. My whole daily routine is going to change. It's going to be different.
Exactly. It's just a degree of change.
Exactly. And I think that's the point about the spring reset. Is when I came out of my house 2 or 3 days ago and I saw the clematis over the front fence, which is my neighbour's clematis, which is growing my way. It's like the gift.
Grateful for that.
The gift that I did say to her, I will try and train it, but actually it won't. She said, it won't come my way. I'm like, she said, thank you so much. But it was just budding. And I thought, enjoy this moment of the clematis budding.
Yes.
That's already, that's nice, rather than,
Yes,
that's not there.
Which makes me think of the other refresh that we've been talking about recently. We did mention this, I think, when we came back from our holiday earlier this year, which is if you are thinking about developing a new habit, changing something. So, for example, the weightlifting as your kettle is boiling, lifting the little weights. No, they're not actually. 8 kg is actually not that little. This is 16 altogether.
Because what we've all learned over the whole Zoe, we've got to improve our muscle mass. Is that heavy weights, shorter time, Pen. Heavy weights, shorter time, which is perfect for the kettle boiling because it's quite an efficient kettle. So it's not, if they were little weights, Pen.
I love that was important to clarify that. I'm all for a reset, but not a pointless reset. That's the point being that, actually, exactly as you said, it doesn't have to be right. By the end of this year, I'm going to be winning high rocks competitions and competing in iron.
I think we've all learned that doesn't work.
Yeah. But as I said to you when we did our yoga retreat earlier this year, for me, it's now about if I can still do the same things I can do now in a year, 2 years, 5 years' time, more than good enough.
Win.
More than good enough. So the refresh can also be, it doesn't have to be a whole new goal. It's just, what can I do now? What do I like about my life now? What am I able to do? Let's just maintain it.
A quick word from us at 4D Human Being. If you're enjoying the show, please do click follow so that you can have the 4D Human Being podcast instantly in your feed. And we'd love it if you liked and reviewed us. Let us know what you think.
Please do think of 1 or 2 people that you could share the 4D Human Being podcast with. Somebody who would really benefit from the content you're listening to right now.
Back to the show.
Well, look, exactly, and also, and I really want to go back to the celebration on this, is that to enjoy, I don't know, let's use a gardening analogy, that weeding the garden or putting the sort of, plant feeder in, enjoy that bit. That we enjoy the process, we enjoy those small moments, and we're not all just waiting to the big trophy or the big award. It's the Matt Damon and Ben Affleck moment when they won the Oscar.
Then what?
And they sat there with it on the coffee table after Good Will Hunting, and they were like,
That's done.
Nothing's changed. And of course, the enjoyable bit was the creativity, the writing of it, the green lighting it, them being on set, the making it happen. The joyful moment wasn't an Oscar.
And I will enjoy garden weeding for as long as my back holds out and I can actually do it.
So we encourage a reset and hitting the 4D reset button. And for us, of course, at 4D, as I said, that is about really hitting a reset on intention. And you can do really easy things like dial your energy up by 1 point in your next meeting. Next time you're on your doorstep and you've left the house in a bit of a grump, or you've had an argument with someone that you live with, stand on that doorstep, take a breath, hit reset and walk in with open, curious. Walk in with a different attitude. Keep hitting reset, because those tiny moments of hitting that 4D reset button over the next week, month, year are going to completely change not only your experience of the world, but your experience of yourself.
Well, we were saying as well, weren't we, that particularly at the moment, I mean, whether it's on a macro level, which it is at the moment, or whether in your own life or organisation, the level of uncertainty and perhaps some fear and change is ever present and getting dialed up all of the time. And if we don't take charge of that reset, if we don't take charge of where our mind goes, we really are at the mercy of the world around us, and the world around us is pretty uncertain.
Exactly. I've said this before, but I keep coming back to, I think it had such an impact on me, the the orchestra in the basement in Ukraine.
Oh, yeah.
That what can you do in these really tough moments when things are uncertain and volatile? You know, we're living in the VUCA world.
Yeah.
And actually, what can you do? And I think it's an act of, it's activism and protest now to come back to the present and take charge of your next 5 minutes. I really feel like that is a vote for activism in a world that, you know, may well be really pushing you and triggering you, for want of a better word, to come back to the present moment and come back to choice and say, no, I choose how I'm going to be in this next 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Is the power that you have.
Yeah. Well, I saw on Instagram the other day, I think it was a Buddhist monk saying, your life is one day.
Ooh.
And what he meant by that was that yesterday is gone.
Yeah.
Tomorrow
Yeah.
it's not here and there's no bounty in
Yeah.
it. So your life is always one day.
I love that.
I know, I really like that as well.
I love that. Well, I can't think of a nicer, if I have one day, I can't think of a nicer one day.
These lovely doggies.
These lovely doggies in the woods, in the sunshine. Very, very lucky.
And we've had our hair done today as well. It's looking good. It's the small things. Though I have got my sunglasses on, partly because it's sunny, but partly because my hay fever's up. But still, I'm not going to focus on that. No, not for exactly. It's all about where you focus. It's all about. Oh, that was my favourite quote of the week.
It's not what you look at, it's what you see.
Yes.
Come on. Isn't it though?
Yeah.
I mean, that brings us on to topics we'll talk about in the Uncertainty podcast, but absolutely around where you put your attention, where you put your focus, and also whether you are...
Selection of data.
Whether you are evidence gathering for danger or whether you can evidence gather for joy, love, connection, safety, all of those things, because those signals are there. I was imagining, you know, to put it in a work context, I was imagining like a snapshot of a meeting room table.
Yeah.
And, you know, you're giving your idea and all you can see is people looking quizzically or disapprovingly, and you've missed the person smiling with their thumbs up towards you. And so where can you look?
If you could put your intention now, it's like
With the person smiling with their thumbs up.
Well,
towards
I
you.
had this conversation with that the other day, and it's this sort of analogy of someone comes into work and you say to them, did you see any red cars on your way to work this morning? And of course, they know that they did, but they couldn't really tell you.
Because they weren't really...
But then the next morning, they will literally be able to tell you how many they've seen.
That's it. So those are the two things that I want to really leave with. One is, where are you looking for those moments that are going to help you shift?
Yeah.
And look for the positive, look for the connection, look for your allies, look for the moments of joy or play or in happiness or creativity. And the second one is, where can you hit reset? Where have you got stuck? Where are you in pattern? Where could you change the game by 1 degree, as you said, Pen?
Yeah.
Where could you start turning your ship by 1 degree, just shifting from eye-rolling cynicism, which is my big topic of the week. Where have you got cynical? Where are you rolling your eyes?
Where is that ever helpful?
It's never helpful, because I'm really thinking about that this week. Being sort of a cynical, been there, done that, bought the t-shirt, sucks every moment of joy from your life. There's nothing left to enjoy if all you've got left is the mindset of criticism and cynicism.
Yeah, it's so true.
It's joyless.
And you'll suck the joy out of everybody else.
And you'll suck the joy out of everybody else. So where are you rolling your eyes? Where could you reset and reframe? Where could you, I was thinking about beginner's mind. Beginner's mind isn't about being naive. It's about resetting, going, what else is there? It's a bit like the buds coming up on the clematis or the trees. It's new. It's not like, they came up last year. You're over, aren't you?
It's totally true. But I would point to my dog in front of us, who I have seen wandering through the woods many, many times in my life. It never fails. Have you enjoyed it?
Where is he? There he goes. Very funny. He loves it. Exactly. We're learning from the doggies. All they want to do is sniff around, sniff and run. And they've sniffed and run all their lives. And
It never gets boring.
It never gets boring. Exactly.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the 4D Human Being podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show.
Do take on board some of the insights, tools and tips, because every time that you try something new to get back to choice, you are making a vote for the you that you want to become. And I love that phrase, Pen.
I do too. And please do share this episode with somebody that you know would really benefit from the lessons and learnings we've been chatting about today.
And of course, if you're interested in more from 4D Human Being, do get in touch. We run workshops, trainings, online, in-person, conference events and keynotes. We've got the 4D OnDemand platform for your whole organisation. And we do have a free Essentials membership where anybody can sign up for absolutely free to access some of our insights, tools and tips. So do get in touch with us if you'd like to hear more. We cannot wait to hear from you and to carry on the conversation.